What's up, guys? Welcome back. I know it's been a while. It's July 29th. We have a lot to go over for our July update and chores video. For now, we are actually at the home. We're quite a bit of ways away from the farm, and I wanted to show you our newest project out here, having some fun in the basement. Mainly wanted to show you this because it's going to be a nice office over here to do some more videos, to go over some more items that we can actually take our time with, maybe do some other visual aids and things like that, not just a whiteboard but maps or whatever. And you know, really, especially when we're going over what is working well and not working well when it comes to the farm and the items we've covered over this year. But over here, just for kicks, is going to be a little living area, maybe a TV and just a sitting area, some more room in the basement with an added bathroom, and then lastly, around the staircase, a laundry room that needs to be finished greatly. It's very typical for southeastern Michigan to have these just poor, dirty laundry rooms in the basement, so myself and my wife very excited to get that and make it a little nicer, but most excited for this office and what it's going to be turned into. So we'll kind of keep you updated on what they're doing, what we're kind of choosing as far as finishes, and if that's something you're interested in, you know, let us know below. But other than that, we'll head out to the farm and get you guys caught up. All right, we're back on the farm. It is August 1st, I believe, today, so it took me a day or two. It's a Sunday. We are gonna be checking the straps on the stands and kind of just wrapping up some things for July now that we're getting into August, and really it's gonna be food plot season and the next update video. So we're a little behind. I wanted to show you real quick our first year switch. This is one of the areas that's actually coming in fairly well. Might be a little bit hard for you to see because there are definitely still weeds in here. However, this was mowed twice, and it's the majority of the reason why I could not get a video out. I don't believe in there being an excuse of not enough time, but you know, being lazy after mowing. The first one, you know, sometime I want to say mid-June, I mowed probably 4 or 5 acres, and then this last time, just 2 weeks ago, or sorry, 3 to 4 weeks ago, I mowed almost the whole thing, about 11 acres of switch. Took 10-11 hours straight after spraying, and it was just exhausting. You can see the whole land, or at least one of the main big areas, and that is with a 52-inch mower that I got that done. So, but wanted to show you one example being this first year switch. Right now it's just about 2.5 feet tall or so, and you know, this is one of the stands that I think will come in very well, even though there are some weeds. I know that once they die and we get into that second year, I'm going to show you an example of our second year switch and how it's going. But we have a lot of areas that are coming through pretty good and I'm happy with, and a lot that maybe aren't getting behind me here, closer to the woods. You can see Mamoon over there, and you can see that the shade probably has you know, not let this grow in quite as thick, but most of this is switched by the red stem, I can see. So hopefully, even though it's a slower grower, those also the second year will come in pretty well, and we'll go from there. So I got a stand on my back. We do need to move one. Like I said, going to be checking the straps, and we'll go over some of the other items that we went through in July, and you can actually see one of them barely over there. All right, now outside of mowing all of the switchgrass, which was a huge part of the month of July, we also started to get our stand situated, which we're finishing, as well as our other blind. Our other one, we still need to put the cover on, but you can see with this one, we actually, with the prices of wood, ended up going with the metal redneck 10-foot tower and the ghillie blind. I feel like we get a lot of the same benefits just getting the ghillie blind without going with the fiberglass ones. The fiberglass ones are super nice. Plus, I don't have a tractor to load and unload and deal with all that. So, and oftentimes I don't want to, you know, keep asking for help a little too much. So, went with the ghillie, set that up. The tower was, you know, a challenge at times. We'll do a separate video on going over that. But the switchgrass and the tower were two of the main things. So outside of the switchgrass and the blind, the other major thing I really wanted to go over with you guys is what we decided to do with our food plots. And you can see here, we no longer have any buckwheat. We decided to terminate it. It's been about a month for numerous reasons. One, it just wasn't coming in super well. It was great in some areas, not in others. And I wasn't gonna just break up the plot because, as most of you know if you've been following along, we mainly have a food plot trail that heads to a larger plot, but it's all connected. And I wasn't gonna break it up into different pieces just because some areas were good and some weren't. I'd rather do the safe thing, especially this first year. So we terminated it. As you can see, it's pretty much all dead. We did a first spraying about a month ago. We did another spraying about a week ago. And this looks like a great kill, but out as we go to the main plot, we definitely have, we had a lot of taller buckwheat and weeds because we were really trying to see if the buckwheat would come in fairly well. And so it's being a little bit harder to terminate, and that is something that we mowed last week. So everything's short, most of it's dead. Might do one more spraying. But was a little disappointed that I couldn't get that to you guys sooner. So for anyone that might have benefited from that or was waiting, I apologize. It's also one of the reasons, if you haven't noticed, we started a Chores Farms Facebook page. And that is mainly so that for the days that it's just too hard to make a video or they're not coming out as soon as I would like, I can at least give you guys more up-to-date results, what we're doing, because like this, for example, you wouldn't have known that we terminated the buckwheat a month ago unless we would have at least posted a picture, said something. But here we are. You're not going to be getting this video until August, and it is what it is. So I'm going to be trying to do better on that. But I think the Facebook notifications, and if you want to follow along, you can shoot me a quick friend request to the Chores Farms, same title, Facebook page, and I'll be going through some other things on that. But we're still going to continue with the videos. I do plan on planting. We did get some rain last night, over a 1/4 inch, so I'm a little disappointed because it was barely in the forecast at all. I think that looks like this whole next week, first week of August here in Michigan, is going to be pretty sunny, pretty hot, not much rain. So I'm not planning on planting maybe until like the August 8th, next weekend at the earliest type. So we should have still enough time to have a good growing season, maybe possibly spot spray a couple areas that still have some larger weeds that are going to take a little bit more time. I know that typically we could easily wait 3-4 weeks between sprayings, but we just don't have it. We don't have the time for that this year. And the only other thing, which I'll go over more in the next video, will be, you know, the planting and the cultipacking and all that stuff that most of you guys know. But I will use the homemade drag I've talked about previously, just a wooden square basically with some lag bolts I put in to kind of drag and scuff up a lot of what you see here in this dead stuff, just to give it a little you know, scratching, loosen up some of the dirt. As well as last week, and besides mowing, we also spread about 900 pounds or so of potash fertilizer. I do plan on using a liquid lime impact. I'll talk about that more later, but stay tuned, follow along for that, just because there are numerous other products that aren't actually raising the soil pH, and I think you guys should know that. And I'm going to test the results. I'm going to bring it to you, but impact is one of them, and I learned a lot about that through the podcast Field Days with Jason Say, and they bring a lot of special guests. And I know some of the special guests work for Whitetail Institute, and that's who makes impact. I totally get it, but they talk about the science, and a lot of the science makes sense to me. So the next test is going to be actually trying it out and seeing if he thinks it make a difference, because this new food plot is all going to be a first-time food plot. So let's go outside of that. That's been most of July. I'm going to adjust a couple straps on tree stands and show you guys what I do each year to keep things pretty safe, up to date. And then that'll kind of wrap up this video, and we'll move into August here shortly, and more food plots. All right, guys, we're here at the tree stand. We're pretty much wrapping up. Didn't get any time lapse or anything, but basically I wanted to show you what we're doing with the straps and how, you know, unless any need to be replaced and we're seeing a little wear and tear in certain areas, how we kind of protect the tree and reduce wear on the strap. And basically all we're going to do is loosen this strap up, and we're going to give it a little bit of slack. And once there's a little bit of slack, we're really just going to move this around the tree so that it's not in the exact same spot that it was previously. And once we think it's in a little bit of a different area, even if it's not perfect, all we're going to do is come back and ratchet it back down. And that's going to prevent the strap from really digging into the tree year after year, and really the strap getting worn all the way into the tree, which I know most of you have probably seen. And also kind of reduce wear on the strap as the tree expands and contracts. It has a whole new kind of tether around a different piece of bark, and we'll feel a little safer going into the stand this season. I got one more thing to show you guys, that second year Switchgrass, just to give you an idea and kind of what we're hoping for on the rest of the property. Even though we do have you know, quite a bit of weed competition, I want to let you guys know that I did just about everything I could on those weeds. So they're very serious when they say how competitive it is with weeds and how important it is to take care of them. We did the simazine, which worked phenomenally. I sprayed glyphosate. Now I believe I only sprayed glyphosate one time, and that's because that was early May, and when I would have done it in early June, a month later, I was worried about it germinating. And I know most of us had this pretty in-depth conversation about the germination being later than we expected. Well, I don't know if you saw it similarly, but with all the money I spent on this switchgrass for 12 acres at 10 pounds an acre, I did not want to risk killing most of it with a later spray of glyphosate. So I didn't do that, and maybe that's one of the reasons why I've already done 2 mowings, and I still have in many areas quite a bit of weed competition. So we'll see how it looks at the very end of the year. Of course, I'll keep you up to date, and more importantly, super excited for next year when really that switchgrass should hit its peak, like this next piece that I'm going to show you. All right, so we're back towards the old food plot in one of our tree stands, and you can see here behind me we have second year switch. That's right now anywhere between 4 and 6 feet, I'd say. I'll give you a better look. You can see how much better it is. A big strip essentially that goes down. Was really meant to hide, you know, the food last year we had in the back, which right now we're going to have the trail going this way. But I wanted to show you, I know most of you guys have seen second and third year switchgrass, but you know, my soil pH over here is only 5.7. I put minimal lime down, so it is possible, but in a lot of other areas it's just not going to be enough. This here on the right of the second year is also switchgrass I planted and mowed, you know, 3 or so weeks ago. So definitely, you know, some weeds in here. It's definitely not perfect, but there's also definitely plenty of switchgrass. And once I think this kind of finishes the season and then comes back next year, it should at least be enough to provide some good cover from our access that's going to be along the woods, in the woods on a trail. So it doesn't need to be perfect. This is not necessarily something I'm going to be walking right behind, but it will provide a lot more screening for the deer. The last thing I wanted to mention to you guys for July is the fact that I've been seeing a couple videos on glyphosate on direct seed contact and the negative impact it can make. There's a good video by a similar YouTuber. I think it was Warren Hunt, Ohio, or something similar to that effect. I'll try and post it in the link below, but essentially he sprayed multiple buckets with different levels of glyphosate right onto the seed. Now I know there's many different variables, so don't get me started on that. However, just to know that enough glyphosate, you know, or one spraying, you know, with good contact on a seed can have a negative impact. And I know most and many habitat managers talk about the no-till plot and the spraying over the buckwheat. And I think that can be a little different because not all the glyphosate is going to be touching the seed. But before I go here to seed in the next week, I at least wanted to get a little bit of that out there, and you guys can hopefully check out that video as well. He did a good job, I thought. Sorry, a lot of bugs. And just know that if you were doing it like me, you have no buckwheat, which I know a lot of us this year had failed buckwheat plantings, that you do not want to go in, seed, and spray the glyphosate right over. It seems like I'm not going to. He definitely convinced me that way, and I can honestly say I've been wrong about saying that, and glyphosate not hurting anything, because it seems like it can certainly have an impact. So that's about it. That's July, guys. The food plot's coming up here. I'll probably have a video around the time of the food plot or shortly after, so there probably won't be another one before, at least before the 1 week time period. And we'll go from there. Stay tuned on Facebook. Again, Trager Farms Facebook page. Feel free to follow along or send me a friend request for that to get some pictures on the in-between. And excited to go over everything and see how it all works, how the food plot comes in, and how all the other habitat changes works for the season. So I'll see you guys soon.